All right, here we are. So this lecture is the first lecture about reverb. And we can just, I mean, because I don't feel I'm so prepared, we can just watch this GIF for the whole lecture and for 1.5 hours, and then go home. What do you think? Sounds like a good deal? No, no, no. I'm saying that we can just watch this GIF for 1.5 hours, and that would be a great lecture, I think, and because it's so cool, because it's such a cool. But anyways, no. Let's go, guys. Let's focus a little bit. So we're gonna start talking about reverb. Like our goal where we want to get in this next module where we are is that we can do ear training on reverb. Like that's what the goal, that you can open the technical ear trainer and start training on reverb. And that's where we're gonna go. Like I told you, I mean, really, what I have here is not terrible. It's not like there's nothing. It's okay, but it can be so much better. So I'm a little bit disappointed. So I guess that we will see some other stuff next week, review some things, and I will give an improved version of some of the concepts that I'm bringing here today, because I really learn how to boost my productivity. This week I have 10 lectures, and it's just like and the film, and so I'm just like a bit overwhelmed, and I'm sorry. I'm really grateful to your patience with me. But let's go. Let's just do this. Maybe it's not so bad as I think. So my goal today is that we discuss reverb in general, just like, hey, start talking about it for a moment, and that we discuss some cases that you can actually use reverb, and maybe those cases are going to be different than what you think. You know, just like discussing, hey, reverb is useful here, 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 and there. And the other thing that I want to discuss as well is types of reverbs, both analog and digital. And then I will be able to digest a little bit better the chapter on reverberation by Jason Corey, and I'll give you next week like a bit more like technical and more interesting details apart from what we're going to talk today. So reverberation is used to create distance, depth, and spaciousness in recordings. So the important thing that I want you to know, and this is really, I really care about this, and I really care that you internalize this in your system, is that you can capture reverb or you can create it. And I say this because capturing reverb is the coolest thing ever. Let me show you something here. In Budapest, I want to open your mind to some things, like in the studio where I used to work in Budapest. Super size recording. I may have mentioned this to you in the past. I don't remember. I mean, of course, I mentioned to you the studio. I remember that. But I may have mentioned to you what I'm about to say. I don't know. Like, if you go to the website of the studio, you will see that if it loads, I hope that they're not blocking IPs from Russia. It's like, come on, guys, you're just a studio. Just give me my information. I just want to show you one room in the studio. Not letting me proceed. Wait, let me try not here, but here, because of this. I have some little trick here. Yeah. So this is the main live room in that studio. And you see, and then there is another room here. Let me go main room, stone room. You see, there is a stone room, right? And actually, in the first Pobeda album, that we recorded it there. We flew to Budapest, I took the band, and we recorded it there. Pobeda.bandcamp. It's the one that is best sounding, I think, unfortunately. Bandcamp.com. So in the first Poveda record, let's just play one moment of it, like just the very beginning of it. Wow, where is my album? Is it not appearing there? Maybe it's in some label. Wow, that's really weird. Ah, here it is. Sorry, I'm just totally crazy right now. Okay, if I play just one moment of this, like the beginning. You right away hear reverb on the snare. Like, I guess you can feel it, I hope. So this was, imagine, recorded live. We were performing this live. And from the console, imagine that you in Ableton Live and make a send out. Imagine you have the recording and you're in the studio and you're recording everything. You see all the multi-tracks there. And you grab the snare and you send it to output 5 and 6 of the sound card, yeah? And then you send that to a speaker that is in a room, and then you put 2 microphones that record that speaker. So you record the room, basically. So that's called re-rooming. So that snare sound that you hear, it's actually the 2 speakers positioned in the stone room, and it was all happening live. I mean, this was some tracks that we were recording while we were performing. It was like we were performing in another room, and in here was just like 2 speakers, 2 mics, recording everything we were doing, and creating artificial, or not artificial, I don't know. I don't know if to call it artificial reverb. But I wanted to tell you that because that's the most cool way to do reverb, for sure. It's like when you can actually capture it from somewhere. I don't remember also if I have shown you this video. I think I have. I have a memory of sharing it with you while we were in Foundation. I'm pretty sure I have. But it's Silvia Massi recording in a very special location. Yeah, I'm sure you have seen this, but I just wanted to remind you, like you see, like you can even take it to the extreme of taking a band to a nuclear reactor, and why not? And just putting them there and just catching that reverb, right? Like, let's hear it again because it's so wonderful. Go. Yeah. That's the face of yeah. So, I mean, the first point that I want to bring up with this lecture today is that remember that my vibe and my dream is that we all kind of like think outside of the box, you know? We say like mixing in the box. So, pun intended, one of the things that we want is to be thinking outside the box. So, reverb is going to be either recorded or added later. Most likely you right now, or many of you think just like reverb equals a plugin, you know, or something like that. But the first thing I want to invite us to think is like, hey, no, reverb is also a room. It happens in a room. And the other thing I want you to remind you is that reverb is also a unit, a device. You know, there are really cool reverb units that are boxes, you know, not just plugins, and that they can be also plugged. So that's really cool. In classical music recording, people want to really achieve some sort of natural representation of an ensemble with reverberation in a space, you know. And so reverb becomes a part of your recording, and it's something that you really want and that you're seeking for. In this type of recording, you put the mics in a particular way to get the instruments, and you also catch the indirect sound that is coming from other sources, from walls, ceilings, floors, seats, etc. By the way, I think that you noticed something, and I mentioned this when we had a reflection about the concert that we played in Munch. You know, you see how differently the room reacted when there was people and when there was no people. And this really matters. I mean, people are not transparent. People actually have bodies that absorb sound and reflect them and all of that jazz. And so that's why when you read this here and you see like walls, ceiling, floor, and seats. My school in Caracas was a very, very fucking special school, by the way, my high school. It's called the Emil Friedman School. It was founded by a Czechoslovakian violin player that migrated to Venezuela after the Second World War. And yeah, it's a pretty sweet place. Like it's really amazing. This is where I studied in high school. Kind of like it had like a swimming pool. Like it was really, really amazing place. Like it's a private school, of course. Like this was my high school. Yeah, it was really, really nice. And one of the reason why I'm talking to you about my high school is because my high school was a musical high school. So I mean, like you had to study an instrument, and all of it was classical music. Like you had to study an instrument. I was playing French horn, and there was like, I mean, there are like 4 orchestras inside the school. It's really serious thing. It's not a joke. Like, I mean, these orchestras playing all over the world, and it's a really, really, really serious thing. And the school has a Emil Friedman Escuela, Colegio Emil Friedman. The school has an auditorium. Auditorio, like kind of for 700 people. I mean, it's a big thing for sure. And the reason why I'm talking to you about the auditorio is because it was designed by a very famous acoustician in the world. I don't think this is it. No, this is definitely not it. I just want to show you something about the acoustics of that place. This was the logotype of my school. Yeah, this is the place, but I want to show you the seats. Like I want to show you the seats, how they look like. This is not it. Well, anyways. It's not such an important detail, but in many theaters, the seats are designed with a material that when you fold the seats, when nobody is sitting down on them, it's a material that simulates how a person sitting on the seat absorbs sound. So when the hall is empty and there is a rehearsal happening, you kind of have an idea of how it will sound when people are there. So you see, like the seat folds, like at the bottom part of the seat has this material that is designed to simulate this. So this is really important thing in the world of reverberation. I mean, when we're recording classical music, we want to record those enclosures and those spaces, and we want to also engage or establish a relationship with the walls, with the ceiling, with the floor, and with the seats. That's why I went to tell you that story about my school. I also wanted to show you my school because it was such a cool place. For sure, it was such a cool place. So engineers try to achieve a balance between indirect sound and direct sound. For example, whenever somebody calls me like, Leo, I want to record my band, my answer is always like this. Are you a Tame Impala or are you a Rage Against the Machine? I always ask this question. And he's like, why are you asking me this question? And he's like, well, I will choose the live room depending on that. If you tell me you're a Rage Against the Machine, we go to Studio A. If you to DTH Studio A. Because it's a faster, more reverberant room that has more ambience. And remember that once ambience happens and arrives to your mics, you cannot remove it. I mean, there are de-reverberators, but these are sacrileges. It's like kind of like a musical, I don't know, audio engineering blasphemy. You know, you cannot even try to do this. And on the other side, I mean, and on the other side, it's easy to fix. If you have no reverb, you can really add it. But if you have too much reverb, you cannot remove it. So you need to get this right, and you need to find a balance between the actual source and the reverberation in a room. And for this, you kind of need to think about it. Look at the room, think about how it works, and meditate about this. And this is what we're going to start doing today. So pop, rock, and electronic and other styles of music that use electronic instruments and computer-generated sounds are not necessarily recording in reverberant acoustic spaces, but they still need reverb. So we need to make them, I don't know, or not, depends on the aesthetics that we're going for. But in general, like, I mean, you either are going to create a recording and you need to mediate or meditate about how the reverb is going to be in that recording, or you're going to generate a signal that has never existed in the universe before, and then you want to put it inside a reverberant space. So that's pretty cool. Artificial reverberation and delays, they kind of mimic acoustic spaces, or they completely are outlandish and they will show you a new reality that doesn't exist. And I don't know if about you, but I mean, I really remember kind of like the first times when I was like with the headphones with some microphone listening to my voice in some reverb chamber or stuff, and I was really, I don't know, it was really a really special feeling, just like to feel like be transported to a cave or something like that. It was really cool. So I would like to define the term reverb. I would like to differentiate different types of reverbs. I would like to describe ways we can use reverbs today. I would like to describe the concept of RT60. You know this concept? I guess you know it already. Yeah, I see some yes. I see some no's. No. Okay. I mean, I'm happy that you don't know it because I don't want to tell you something you know, but he seems to know. I want to remember how sound propagates in a room and sort of like look at some visualizations that can help us to think about this a bit. I want us to remember how sound interacts with surfaces in a room, and I want to apply this knowledge to see how can we use this in production and mixing. So, I mean, if we think about sound again, we have a mechanical wave that propagates against the pressure of a medium. For example, just so you know, I want to be very honest about this. So we see these technologies too. This is a ChatGPT generated slide, for example. And that was not how I did it with, later I understood that the best way is to use a book and to say like, here is Jason Corey book, help me to transform this chapter into a presentation. And then it just helps me a lot. Because what I need, I have this knowledge in my head. What I need is a narrative to follow. If I have a narrative, then I can keep you engaged for an hour and a half. If I don't have a narrative, it's like, yeah, and the way I created this presentation in particular was just, I asked to ChatGPT how sound works, how this works, and you will see it's not so cool. When I do it with a book, it's amazing. I learned this after I make this presentation. I went to sleep, and the day after I was like, I can just put a book here. Fuck, like that's awesome. And not only that, guys, because this thing that is happening is really, really deep. It's really, really deep. Not only that, look at what I discovered later. Like, I mean, a week later or something. I was thinking about this, and I was just like, wait, I was just, oh, by the way, some nice serious moment there. Yeah, with his wings. Look at this. I asked to ChatGPT, can you summarize YouTube videos? Yeah, of course I can. And I was like, oh fuck, okay, please make a summary of this video. You see, like, I mean, this is incredibly dangerous because it can make you a very mediocre person look really fancy, you know. But on the other hand, to a person like me, I mean, I don't want to enhance my position in the world, but I know my shit very well, you know, and this makes me like what I wrote to Anya was like, I just wrote to Anya right there, like, I just became like 4 people in one, you know. Yeah, and I just started using this last week, so it's a very new thing for me, and this will really increase the level of my presentations, like a tenfold. They can become a lot better. So sorry for the adaptation period. It's all kind of messy, and that's why I was feeling like, fuck, this lecture could be so much better. But anyways, let's continue and go with the material I have for now and discuss it later. So, okay, if we think about sound, it's a mechanical wave that propagates through a medium. When sound is produced in a room, it causes molecules of, this is really nice how he wrote it. It causes the air molecules near the source of the sound to vibrate. These vibrations are transferred to the surrounding air molecules, and it's really well written. And it creates a wave pressure that travels through the air. This is where the part that we care now, because we're thinking about rivers. As the pressure wave travels through the room, it finds a lot of surfaces, walls, floors, ceilings, and which either reflect or absorb or scatter the sound waves. And when the sound waves encounter that surface, some of the energy is reflected back into the room, while some of it is absorbed by the surface. So if you think about, I think that one of the skills that you need to have as a person who is engaging with sound is to be able to look at a room and just imagine how it's going to sound right away. Like, and if I tell you right now, well, you have been in Studio B. Like you see, like, there is very few glass in Studio B, right? I mean, there is the glass of that separates the 2 rooms, but I mean, in the Studio A, you have a huge glass that is like 6 meters tall or something, standing there in the window. And you see, glass does not, it's not one of the reasons why glass is reflecting sound outwards is because it's not so good at absorbing it. So when you have something like a piece of glass, you're going to have a very bright reflective room that is going to be more, we use this word, fast. It just circulates faster. Also, in Budapest, for example, I was there. When I was there, we changed the floor of the studio from carpet to wood. And when I was like the part of I mean, first it was really cool. We tore down the whole thing, removed all the floor, like changed the floor. And we recorded drums with the same setup to make a test. Like imagine Thursday was on the floor with carpet and Friday was on the floor with wood. It was so brutal, and the difference was insanely huge. And like I have been telling you in all our musical relationship, when you record stuff, there are people who are roomy engineers. Like, and what I mean by, well, there are some songwriters here. I have told this more to the engineers. Like, roomy engineers are people whose whole recording is centered around the room mic. And there are people who are not thinking like that. It's kind of like the room mic is more like an extra thing, an artifact that is there that I will add later. Or they even see it like, I can later put some reverb in the computer and I don't need the room even. I am a roomy engineer. Like, and that's for me. You remember in this Big Lebowski quote, like, the carpet ties the room together. You know, I don't know if you remember this, if you have seen the Big Lebowski or something, but like for me, the room ties the room together. I mean, no, ties the recording together. That's kind of how I see it. And so I want to make a recording that it's centered on the room mic, so I can actually, I don't know, have like a bit of a capacity to transport myself back in time into what that room was, what that place was. That's my philosophy when I'm recording something. And it's just a fishka. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to find out. Nobody's going to hear, yeah, that's the Studio B of DTH when I hear that recording. But I know, and I care, and I'm going to find out. So anyways, we want to try to capture all of this. So I found some really nice some nice visualizations that I wanted us to see. so we can think a little bit about what's happening when we're in a room. And I really like this one very much. Like, imagine when you're sitting, remember something. When I say hola right now, that sound moved 60 times in this room back and forth. I have told you this a million times because that fact really shocked me when I realized, like, holy shit, 60 times, like, it's so fast. Now, when you're sitting in an auditorium and there is a band playing, just imagine that. I remember once in with Zemfira. We were setting up a stage. It was in Germany. I think it was like in Leipzig or something like that. And Russell, the sound engineer, played Tool, and I was like, yeah, he was like testing the speakers, and he's a Tool fan too, and he just blasted Ainima, like, and you know, we were setting up the stage while Russell was tuning the PA with Tool, and I remember I have never had this experience, and it's really hard to explain it to you, but it was really intense. Like, I got physically dizzy by the reflections. Like, I mean, it had never happened to me. I was kind of like, I had to sit down, like, fuck, like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, right now, I was doing something on the drum kit, and the reflections that I was hearing, imagine, like, the speakers weren't sending out sound that was bouncing on the back of the theater and coming back to me to the stage. So I was hearing, like kind of like, it was very confusing. I was hearing, like, the music very close to me, the direct signal, and the reflection was coming I don't know, like 3 seconds later. So I was just like, I need to get out of here right now. I don't understand what's going on. So the reflections in a room, and especially in live sound, is like a super important conversation. Starting by the fact, by the way, I don't know if you know this, I guess that Artyom has discussed this with you. Right now I'm talking about reflections in a theater or something like that. Starting by the fact that when you have speaker relays, you know, let's say that you have a speaker 1 and speaker 2, you know, sometimes like there is like, this is a festival, right? And this is a lot of people. And sometimes you have seen that there is like 2 relays of speakers. Have you seen this, right? And then like you are here and you can see 1 speaker here and there's another speaker here. Here is the stage, whatever. Wow, that's really bad, but anyways. And sometimes you have to think about the delay between the speakers, so the person who is here can hear something logical considering all the refractions and everything. Well, in an open space it will not happen, but imagine a place like Olimpijski. So sometimes you have to think about the delay between speaker 1 and 2, so all the reflections that are getting to this person are not so confusing and the person can actually hear what the hell is going on. And that's why there are system engineers that are thinking about this. But anyways, back to this. So yeah, I just wanted us to feel this a little bit. Like in the case of the TV, it's pretty cool. I mean, this thing is happening under your life every second. Right now, it's happening like that. And I guess that you can also see it like this. Like you have a sound source, you have the original sound, and you have the reflected sounds coming back to you. And so, of course, depending on where a microphone is going to capture different moments of that waveform. And all of that. I mean, in different positions in the room and all of that jazz. So, да. Да, хорошо, я забыл. Да, sorry. Сейчас. Старости второго года. So I'm sending it to the Starosti chat. So I think Liz is there, right? Can you share it, please, with the guys? Thank you. Sorry for that. I forgot. Thank you for that help. Okay, so super cool. So the next thing I have here is like, you know, those vibrations that are transmitted there into our ears, right? And I know we have seen this, but I found this really nice gifka here, and I just wanted kind of to sort of like repeat it there because it's really cool. Just to think about how sound works. Because I always get excited and surprised about this. Like, so yeah, those reverberations just make our little hammer vibrate, and this moves like the liquid in the cochlea. We discussed this like here, and that's really amazing. So our listening system, it's kind of like extracting the attributes of sounds sources. Just admit Sanchez. Здорово, братан. Sorry that I forgot about you. Totally forgot about you. About you.
Don't worry, that's cool. I'm here.
Don't worry, I was sleeping anyway, so no, just
No,
trolling.
no, I'm in the hospital again.
Oh shit. Okay, I
Yeah,
was
but
just trolling you, by the way. What happened to you?
oh, I'm cool. That's for checkup for the army
I
for
get it.
Wayne command.
I get it.
This
No,
shit.
no, 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 no. You are in the hospital for a legit reason. I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get better well, bratan. God damn it. Don't get ill. We support you.
Yeah, but I'm cool. That's just a checkup for the army.
I understand. I'm trolling you. I'm just trolling you. I'm kind of like as if I'm talking in a way that nobody can understand why you're there. That was
Yeah,
my joke.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry if it was not. So let's start again. Let's start again. How are you, bratan?
I'm cool. How are you?
Where are you?
In hospital.
Oh shit, man. We really support you.
Thank you, brother. I'm waiting for another video,
Exactly.
supporting video. Yeah, yeah.
We will make another supporting video for you. Yeah. Bye bye. Okay, we continue here. We're talking about reverbs today, and yeah, we just described how humans hear, and we were watching these really cool diagrams, just kind of like meditating about them, and we're moving on. Okay, we're now listening to how uh, we were thinking about how our ears hear sound. So okay, now for us, are this understanding the spatial characteristics of a room without our eyes is a really useful skill, because I mean, well, not only a room but of the what's the name of the acoustic space where we're located in, because it can be a matter of life and death. So the auditory system extracts spatial attributes of sound sources. So our auditory system is designed to kind of like understand, like, that thing came from the right, that thing came from the left, that thing came from far away, including azimuth. Azimuth is local or horizontal distance, elevation, in general distance from us, and environmental information. Binaural, remember this word? No? Yes? No? Remember binaural? What it means? Binaural means like two auditory, like two-eared. Binaural systems rely. Do you remember this on interaural time differences? We discussed this very much, and I hope that you remember it. So let me just open to Pavel. So the auditory system, the binaural auditory systems need interaural time differences, interaural intensity differences. Do you remember these, guys? I see no. No? We discussed it in the lecture for stereo techniques in DTH, and we discussed it in foundation too. Who here can tell me how do we perceive location with our hearing, with our ears? Do you know? Okay. Delay and frequencies. Delay, frequency, and what else? Okay, delay, frequency, and amplitude. So for those of you who are not just like, you got it, like not so located, I'm gonna say it 1 second. Like our system, our hearing system has 3 tests it makes to locate something. Why 3 tests? Because it's a life or death situation. Got wrong the location of the tiger, you're dead. Those tests are differences of time arrival between left and right. Your brain is like, this arrive a little bit left. Differences in between the frequency between left and right ear, and differences between amplitude. That's exactly what Sebastian said. So now when you can trick the brain to feel these things by hacking a speaker, basically. Like that's what we do to create artificial reverberation. We just grab a signal and we're like, if our heads, this is pretty interesting if you think about it. It's pretty interesting. Like we thought, like if we can perceive location, depth, and position. Location, it's the same. Location, depth, and angle with interaural time differences. It means that if I tweak the signal between the left and the right speaker, I can achieve so much. So, spatial attributes relevant to audio production include perceived layout of sources, characteristics of the acoustic environment, and overall quality of sound image produced by loudspeakers. So basically, for us, it's really important to understand where the sources that we are listening are located, what are the characteristics of that acoustic environment, and we need to have a good quality sound image that is produced by the speakers. So when we describe reverb, if we're going to define like what reverb is, it refers to multiple reflections of sound that occurred when sound waves bounce off a surface in space. So, and these guys, what I'm going to say now, it's really important for us, and I guess it's super obvious and super stupid, and you could be like, man, why are you telling me that? But just remember that there is a direct signal and a reverberation, and they are very different things. And sometimes you don't want to mess so much with those reverberations, and you just want the direct signal. That's why you put mics close to a drum kit and put mics far away from a drum kit. Because, I mean, the direct signal is something that we really want to have isolated from the reverberation as much as we can. Because the reverberation will sound different. Like my voice reflected by this acoustic panel, it sounds different than my voice if I speak to you directly. So direct sound and reverberant sound, not the same. We want to separate them. We want to be able to manipulate them separately. So reverb occurs due to the interaction of sound waves with the surrounding environment. The sound waves bounce off surfaces in space and create multiple reflections. These reflections mix together to create a more complex and natural sound. Reverb, it's very important for music production. We will use it in mixing. We will use it in production. We use it to add depth and dimension to a sound. Sometimes you put a reverb on the whole mix, like on the literally on the mix bus, like just like, and you just reverb the whole thing because you want the whole mix to be inside a room or something. And actually today I will show you a really cool plugin that you may have seen, you may have not seen. It's called Ocean Way Studios. It's called like that, and I'll show you in a bit. And when we use reverbs, we can create a sense of space, of ambience and naturalness in the music. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, reverb. So what types of analog reverbs we have around? So we have plate reverbs, we have spring reverbs, we have chamber reverbs, and we have tape reverbs. Now, I wanted to show you here a video of plate reverb hardware so you can see like how a plate reverb actually looks. If I'm not mistaken, no, well, I don't think I showed you, I once showed you a plate reverb, another one, but let's see this one.
This is Chris Schlarb with Big Ego. And
by the way, Murad, you see there, you got your RE20 there for you.
Today we've got a demo video of the studio's Echo Plate 2 plate reverb. It's a 4-foot by 6-foot
there
piece
you go.
of sheet.
So that's a reverb. It's literally a piece of metal, and you run electricity through it, and you can put microphones on it. Not run electricity, you make it vibrate acoustically, literally. And then you put a piezo microphone that is touching that plate, and then you get a sense of reverberation.
Metal suspended in a box with a little transducer and a microphone. And you send signals out to it, bring them back. So that's what we've got set up on our console. This is a solo dobro acoustic guitar recording of Mike Baguetta, all flat watt on bass.
So I guess that you guys are not hearing there online, and that's why you're writing me. Send the link to YouTube, please. Just a second. I'm gonna make a connection here so you can hear it. No. This. Now you will hear it on YouTube, guys. On the stream. So we are here. We are here, and we are here. So I just want to hear it.
I like because you can hear CA77D.
So I guess that he's going to give us the reverb.
So I'll give you a few different examples.
Dude, we just want to hear the
room mic, which was just a Shure KSM32 that we and I'm going to bring that in. It's going to be panned hard right.
That's another mic. Come on,
You
bro.
can
We
hear
just want to hear the
reflection. Let's pull that back a little. Now we'll bring in the echo plate. This is set to
finally.
a 3.5 second decay time. And it's panned hard left. You can hear that beautiful long decay.
Okay, I get it, bro. Like, that's really cool.
So,
by the way, there is another video that I wanted to show you. It's actually cooler than this one. Plate reverb. It's really nice. It's this one, but I don't remember.
You hear it.
I don't remember. I don't remember if we have discussed this video before or not. Wait, am I wondering if this is the one? Wait, yeah, Yeah, I want you to see it. No, this is not the one. This is not the one. Nice. This is a spring reverb, by the way. Like, that's how it looks. But the one I wanted to show you is Plate Reverb Studio. It's really nice because you can see it open. They open one up, and you can kind of, well, I mean, it's maybe this thing is gonna in this video. Maybe it's gonna be that moment. That this is not exactly the one I was looking for. But I wanted to show you. There's a moment when they show the plate. Apparently, I just wanted you to see how it looks like, kind of. No. Clickbait preview, da. It's so annoying. Aha, here it is. Here it is. Oh, this is in electric. I see. This is. Do you remember this guy? There is a plate. That's a plate reverb.
Oh, is that the dampener?
Yeah, so we built a rod that goes up to a handle.
And how many popular songs?
And the reverse different spots on the plate.
It's got to be tucked away in the basement so that it doesn't pick up any sounds.
Yeah, so every studio has just garbage in their basement, I'm sure. I'm just hoping. Is there a tape storage room, which is just archival tape from different people over the years. Now we're underneath Studio A's control room.
And here's the plate with this side.
I managed to take the plate side off, and now I can see it in its glory. It's a stainless steel plate suspended by these clips on the edges. There are two piezo contact pickups on either end of the plate. Those are kind of the microphones that pick up the vibrations.
Put the signal through here.
This is a magnet, and there's a coil.
So there is like a speaker touching the plate that when you send something from the console, you connect to that speaker, and then you just send that signal to that plate, and
that
then
it
you
fits in
record
just
back.
like in a speaker. And the coil is attached to the plate, and so it shakes the plate.
Let me just put it here as well. Just a moment. I just want this video in this presentation too. And wait. Yeah. So let me just continue here. Yep. Okay.
With audio, and then the pickups pick up that audio in two different spots on the plate. A sound originates here, goes out and bounces on all these edges as if it's a two-dimensional rectangular room. Just bounces on every corner, bounces all around. As the reflections keep going, the high frequencies roll off just by the physics of the metal and the reflections. So you have this initial bright, and it just gets darker. Watch me break the plate. At its max, this would have like 4 seconds reverb time, 4 or 5 seconds reverb time. But you can make that 10 seconds by recording it at twice the speed. You can make a real cavernous, like, just... And we've done it, you know, everybody kind of does those sort of experiments as soon as they get a thing like this. They're just like, all right, what else can it do? And the reverse reverb, all that sort of stuff. For movies and for audio production, just making like reverb for whatever your need is.
Yeah, that's really nice. So that's like a proper plate reverb. I have a spring reverb here to show you as well.
All right, hey guys. So I get a lot of questions.
So a
pretty
spring
frequently
reverb
about a lot-
literally, I mean, a spring reverb literally is a suspended spring, like, and you know, when you shake a spring, it sounds like a storm or something. So it's literally exploding that principle, but with a little spring. And we have a chamber and a tape reverb. We're gonna see them in a second too. So let's see a spring
All right, hey
reverb
guys.
here.
So I get a lot of questions pretty frequently about a lot of the different types of DIY equipment that I work with in my my live pulse coder performances. I've got the spring reverb tank.
There you
Spring reverb tank is just literally a spring inside of here that you can send audio through to give it that springy, wet reverb type of sound. This one in particular is from, I don't know if you can read that, an old Hammond organ.
And sometimes, like, there is the twin reverb amplifier who has inside of it a spring like this as well. Like, I mean, you can take them out of...
So it sounds...
Yeah, there are a lot of amps that have them
absolutely
inside.
fantastic.
So this was from an organ,
Audio
for example.
Hammond organ. So what I have here, the basics that I got for this circuit, I actually found a schematic on a Tape-Op magazine. I've got the link to that in the description below if you want to check it out. I've modified this in a different way, so it's not exactly following that same schematic, but it's generally the same approach. So the basics of what it is you have a signal coming in this case I'm using my TR-09 as my signal source. It's got some nice claps. Power amplifier. This is not the one that was suggested in the kit from one. And then I've got coming from the spring going back into here, which then goes through a couple op amps in order to be re-mix and a dry mix as a synth. It is a fuzz drive.
That's we want to hear it.
Play this and just turn up the dry output.
Nice.
There's the TR-09. If I solo, let's say just the claps and snares, because that'll sound good through the spring reverb. So if I just turn up the wet and just touch the spring without sending anything through it,
I love this sound so much.
you see you can hear the spring coming through. Alright, sounds really, really nice. Now, if I play this through it,
Nice. And that's literally just physically traveling across the spring. Like, that's exactly what's going on there. It's just like no digital magic, nothing strange, just like...
boingy, springy, classic spring reverb sound. Now, if I mix this,
Nice.
and here's through the reverb. So, as an example...
Great. So that's kind of like a spring reverb and how it feels. And then there are always, like, I mean, like I was telling you about Budapest and what we did there, there are reverbs units that they are just a room. I mean, the whole room is a reverb unit. You see, like 2 mics here. This is in Sunset Studios in Los Angeles. And so you can send a reverberation to it. And you have also like a spring reverb chamber here. Like this will be different size of springs, like just exactly like this, but a bit more cool. And then we have tape reverbs, which is like uses a tape delay system to create reverb. So I have a good example here. Let me see if I can show you. Wait, tape echo. Roland. Let me see. Let me see if we can see it. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to show you. I hope. Let me see this. Do they open? I think I remember I have seen this video in the past. I just want to see a video that they open it and they show you what they do. You see, like inside of there is a tape. There's a tape spinning, and the magnetic head that is riding on the tape, it's just like, imagine you say hello, and then it just records a little bit later than what you said, hello, 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 and sometimes it just repeats, it recreates reflections like hello, hello. When I'm doing this, is the tape head recording on the tape. It's like hello, oh, 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 and it's just recording, and the whole thing has tape loop that is going around. Oh, sorry, just
use it online.
The length of it. You see, like this is the tape loop there. It's kind of like has a tape that is going in a loop, just like, and it's recording at the same time. So how it sounds, let's see. Yeah, this is depending on the. I love this device. There is one in Major Studios. It's really amazing. And you know, the one in Major Studios, they don't know who it is. I mean, somebody came there to record and left it there. And nobody knows just who this thing costs like 200,000 rubles or something. No, well, I think like 100K. Yeah, and it's so amazing. But this is a bit more like a delay. But you can also make it be a reverb. You see? Like there it is. It's tape reverb. Oh, it's so nice. So let's put this here. Great. Yeah, I want this device so much. Balance Space Echo RE21. There is a digital version of it, and of course it kind of defeats the purpose, but it's really nice. It's really good. It's a whole pedal. I see some good. Yeah, here the guys explain it. This one looks good. This one looks like a good video. So you see how the tape is running inside of it, and it's really cute how it just makes a loop. You see, like it's just grabbing it from there, and it's gonna accumulate like the tape that it doesn't need here, and then just send it back up. You see, like, and now you can close the door of the tape there, and then yeah, now it just, that's how you change the tape, and then you cover it so that it's not like getting damaged or dirty. And there you go, and you can just change your tape and do whatever you want with it. It's really nice. It's a really nice thing. You can just glue it. Yeah, it's a really cool thing. I like this video. I'm gonna put it here for us too. Okay. Spring and tape. Let me just put it here. Spring and tape. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on. Insert video and put this thing here and go and go and go and go. Insert and here and here and here and here. So okay, let's go. So the next thing that I have, this is a tape echo. We just discussed it, and on the spring reverb mechanism, we have digital reverbs. So have you ever heard of impulse response? I'm sure some of you have. All of you have. No? We're going to discuss it in a second. So there are some types of reverbs that I call convolution reverbs, algorithmic reverbs. We're talking about digital reverbs now only, like a hall reverb and a room reverb. I mean, but they are more like, I would say that the two types are just like algorithmic and convolution. Like algorithmic uses impulse responses. We're going to see it in a minute. And convolution uses impulse responses. We're going to see it in a minute. And algorithmic uses just an algorithm like of repeating the signal. Like if the room is so big, I'm going to repeat the signal X amount of milliseconds after the original signal. So I kind of like get a sensation of reverb and stuff like that. But the convolution reverbs work in a very different way. For that, we need to see a little bit of this video.
This is Devin Sheets with Alpha Sound. Let's talk about reverb. Reverb is something we all use but don't talk about in depth very much. I want to show you the differences between at least 4 categories of reverbs that you'll probably encounter, and then go into some detail about my favorite, the impulse response convolution reverb. So the first type of reverb is natural acoustic reverb, the kind you hear in real spaces like this. Now, unfortunately, you don't have a lot of control over that type of reverb. You can try to reposition the stage and the speakers and the audience.
That was kind of the argument I made at the beginning of the lecture.
It's a little bit in the room. Maybe you can rent pipe and drape and put it along the walls to reduce the reverb. If you want to extend it, you can use something like Yamaha's AFC technology, which uses tiny microphones and speakers all around the space to re-amplify the natural sound back into it. A second type of reverb comes from acoustic devices, such as a spring or metal plate. The device becomes energized with the input sound, and the sound is propagated throughout the device and re-emitted, having taken on some unique sonic really cool stamp or characteristic.
Yeah, we'll watch this 4 minutes.
A third type of reverb is digital reverb, which uses a mathematical algorithm to place a unique sonic stamp or characteristic on the input sound. So, much like how the second type works, this is a mathematical device. The math equations that govern the final sound can either be tailored to resemble real and recognizable acoustic spaces or devices as much as possible, or they can be warped and twisted into all sorts of interesting and crazy patterns. Now, one problem with algorithm-based reverbs is that they can sound grainy and metallic, especially in the high frequencies.
You see like that nasty digital reverberation there. It has this like unnatural feel to them.
And so a fourth type of reverb is the digital convolution method, which seeks to take a recording of a real acoustic space and make a sort of digital snapshot or imprint.
So how does it work? Imagine if you have imagine that you put a mic here and you put a mic where Sebastian is. And you have an image of my real voice, and you have an image of my voice after the room, if you calculate the difference between these two, you can calculate the room. Like, and that's how impulse response works.
Called an impulse response, which can be used to shape an input sound such that the resulting sound is as if the input sound had really been recorded in the real acoustic space. The process of applying the imprint to the input sound is called convolution. To understand how this method works, imagine a bat using sonar to scan the shape of a room. The bat emits a sound which goes out into the environment and bounces around and ultimately comes back to the bat's ears. The sound that comes back has the imprint or sonic stamp of the room, and the bat knows how to interpret the sound to tell how big and what shape the room is.
That's so
Now,
amazing.
if we could use microphones to record the sound of
I wish I would have that skill. It would be so
a
cool.
single bat screeching one time into a room, we could use that audio file as an impulse response for our reverb. The software would take the incoming audio signals,
You see?
like a percussion track, and break the sound up into tiny little bits, and then take each bit and stretch it out over the impulse response file until they all take that shape, and then recombine or convolve all the newly formed audio bits in order again, so that the drum sounds like it was in the room, just like the bat. However, not only will the drum take on the characteristics of the room from the impulse response file, it'll also take on the characteristic of the sound that was emitted into the room in the first place. In this case, since the screeching sound from the bat is very high-pitched and doesn't contain any other frequency ranges, the reverb software won't know what to do with all the other frequencies in the drum sound. It'll just apply the reverb to the frequencies it knows about from the impulse response file, and you'll get a roomy sounding snare drum reverb that actually kind of sounds like a bat screech, oddly enough. So when you're making an impulse response of a room, which you can do with something
Of
like
course you can. Yeah, you can, of course.
Logic's impulse response utility, you need to use a device to emit the sound impulse that has a wide and neutral frequency.
Yeah, sure. The bat snare?
So when you're making an impulse response of a room, which you can do with something like Logic's impulse response utility, you need to use a device to emit the sound impulse that has a wide and neutral frequency response. Lots of people have used gunshots or balloon pops or clapping, or even speakers bursting out white noise. These are okay, but still have some characteristics of their own. There's also a completely
Okay.
different method which involves a sine
You don't understand what? He records a clap in a room and then loads that in. No, he doesn't combine it. He loads it into a program that analyzes that sound and separates the source and the reflections, and then it calculates the room like that. And then it creates a unique reverb that which genesis component of that unique reverb was a clap in a room. But yeah, I wouldn't say combine it, because combine it would be like mixing them together. It would be more like it simulates how it would sound if the snare would be in that room, inspired by the sound it heard from the clap. You see? Yeah. So let's see. It's gonna be in the audio effects. Wait. I have never used it, so you know this better than me. So what? You load a file and it will understand it. That's how it works. So let's do that. Okay. Where is convolution IR? Here. These are files. These are files. Isn't there like convolution here? Here? And which one is which? Convolution. And where can I change the sample? Here, yeah, but okay, I cannot load a sample. It comes. So where? User. There it is. So let's see. But it has to be a special file, right? So convolution. Here's a library of 4 gigabytes. Let me see if we have a smaller one. You saw it where? You saw something? But this will be, I think, the whole. Yeah, I just want something like this. Let me see, like. This internet is quite fast. I'm gonna try it. I think that I changed my Waves password and nope, not great. Download now. So that's great. That's great. Well, no, it's slow. You see, I just was seeing sometimes this internet is quite fast, but yeah, it depends on some other factors. So, anyways, back to this. Yeah, exactly. We will. I just want to finish this presentation. So, yeah, that's about impulse response. I mean, these are generated like that, and that's kind of what I wanted to discuss. And I wanted to discuss today as well about this number called RT60. I mean, you know it. Most of you know it. I don't know, but I need to discuss it. You don't know it? So the RT60 is the time it takes for a sound in a space to decay 60 decibels. And that's the moment when we consider that all the reflections died. So the reason why we talk about this is because some reverbs have that function, and it's important that you guys know. I don't know, I'm going to load any reverb here. Some of them, if you know a reverb that shows you the RT60 right away, tell me, because I don't know all the reverbs in Ableton. And usually there are these reverbs that show you here like RT60. There is like a knob, and then you can change the amount. It's a fancy way to call the decay. It's the same as the decay, basically. But it's the technical name. It's a measure of the decay of time in space, and RT60 is important because it determines the reverb's tail. So I just wanted you to know that this concept exists, and it's the amount of time it takes. You see, like, look at the RT60 here. It's like, okay, this was the sound. The sound stopped. How long it took to... I mean, that's important, and I didn't say it when I described initially the RT60. The RT60 is what happens after the impulse of the sound stops, right? And how long it takes to decrease 60 decibels. And sometimes it appears as an individual, I don't know, knob in a reverb. So things you can do with a reverb and a snare. I mean, I thought about this, like, what can we do with a reverb in the overheads and guitars and other things that you can do with reverb? So I was just thinking, let's think about applied cases of reverbs in particular. So of course you can use a reverb to add some space and depth on a snare, for example, or on a drums. So I'm gonna load here some drum track. Let me see if we have here some clips. Wait. Yeah. Nice. Let me see if I have something. Whatever, any of them works. I'm just like a bit picky today. Yeah, let's just drop this one. Okay. And let me just load it as a new track here. Here we go. And I want to run through several cases and see what we can do. I obviously know it's not like I'm gonna show the guys that they can put a reverb on the snare and they never heard this before. I obviously don't pretend that at all. I just want to have a conversation with you about this and see it from different points of view. So, okay. I'm going to separate here this into different elements because I want to be able to reverb the snare alone. Where's the snare? Here. Here is that snare, right? 0, 0, 0. I just want the snare alone. And let's switch off the snare from here. So we have like an isolated snare. Okay, so I have the snare alone here, and I see that some things are playing here still. Wait. Okay, great. Super. See, if I mute this, I have no snare, right? Great. Okay, so let's see the first case. Add some space. Reverb can help create a sense of space and depth in a snare drum. By adding a bit of reverb to a snare, you can make it sound as though it was recording in a large room or space. Obviously. Let's do that. But then I will show you something that I think is more interesting. So obviously, if you ever want to be a serious person in this world of sound engineering or music production, you need Valhalla reverb. There is no option. You cannot escape from that fact. You need to have it. There is no possibility of avoiding that responsibility that you have. It's amazing. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's just so amazing. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Fine, that's cool. I mean, it's okay that you don't like it. Okay, the reason why I'm loading this right now is because I wanted to show you. This is obvious, and everybody knows that if you put a reverb on a snare, it's going to sound really interesting. But what people perhaps ignore is how important it is to have like a very small ambience of a snare, on a snare, like a very short one. Wait, this one is too long. There is like, I'm going to change another one here, which is going to be like 3-post snare. I think, no, this isn't going to be long. This is very long. Rooms, wait. I'm looking for a very short one. Short vocal ambience. Look at this. Look at this. Like this actually sounds not even like a reverb. It sounds like a different snare. It's a very short ambience. And if I just put it like this, if I switch it off, you will see how much we were gaining there. Let me turn it up because that machine there is killing us. It becomes a lot more 3D. So, I mean, I use short ambiences a lot to make things more fat, more interesting. Snare ambience is going to be longer. This is more obvious. Let me see another little room there. Short dark snare room. Yeah, like something like this. It's really useful thing. It's so. I'm gonna switch it off. Is there another reverb here? Like, does this thing has a reverb? Sorry. Yeah, I see. Yeah. There you go. That's really, really powerful stuff, and it's so short. I'm gonna switch it off again. Wow. So my main goal of this was just to tell you, you're working with a snare, you don't like how it sounds. One of the first things you need to try is a very short reverb, not a long one. Just like, it's kind of like adding, you're dressed already, you put yourself a jacket on top of it. It's like, I'm looking nice. And it's like, I'm the same person, I just put a jacket, like it was the same thing. Like there's no big difference there. So the reverb is like a little bit of a jacket of the snare. Emphasize the attack. Some reverbs such as plate and spring reverbs can emphasize the attack of the snare by making it sound more present or front of the mic. You can achieve this by dialing in a shorter decay time and a higher pre-delay on the reverb. So I wanted to put you there some particular case studies of it. So let's see something like that. So it's suggesting us here to shorter decay and higher pre-delay to accentuate the attack. So let's try that. Shorter decay. Let's go here. Decay. Here's the decay. Let's put a short decay. And here's a pre-delay. Nice. Nice. I mean, it's too long now. My goal was to accentuate the attack. Oh, fuck. Again. I'm doing it again. Yeah, now I have a bit of more attacky thing. Okay, that's cool. That's another case. And this is so true and so useful. Sometimes when things are harsh and you just want it to be more mellow, more soft on your ears, you can reverb them heavily. So, not heavily, but reverb them so they become a bit more smooth, more soft on the ear. So, let's see this. I can cut the high end here and then just do something like, well, this is a bit too long. Let me just put it like this. I want to see if it becomes really softer or not. Let's see. Ah, fuck again. Yeah, it's considerably softer. I mean, it also has a tail now, of course. It changed the character, but it's considerably softer. Like in terms of frequency. Yeah. So that's another thing that we can do with a reverb. On the drums overheads. Ah, by the way, I want to show you something that sometimes, it was really surprising to me. Sometimes some effects, some sort of like proxy to reverb. Like when I mean proxy, it's like not exactly a reverb, but something that is similar to a reverb can give you really great results on a snare. And I know a very special case. You will see. I hope you're gonna flip. This is really interesting. Like if I. Something like that, but I'm talking now about something about the crystallizer, like in particular. It's a very psychedelic delay. Like, I mean, look at what the crystallizer... This is not a reverb, okay? But there is a function inside the crystallizer. You can use delays to behave like reverbs. That's kind of what I'm trying to tell you. And we cannot see it because I don't have my iLog with me today. So, wah, 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 wah. And there is no way to do like a test, nothing. Test version, nothing. Unfortunately, I guess I'll show you that next week. And I also don't have my waves, plugins here, etc. By the way, this thing has a space echo. There is a space echo plugin. Let's have a listen to it right now. It's going to be here in the plugins. It's going to be Roland here. 201. Remember, we just saw it now. And here it is. Like, that's a slap. So a slap is just like a very short, like one repetition only delay. And this guy has a reverb volume here. It's more an analog one. Wait, let me see the... Maybe I need to reverb only. Wait. These are delays. Yeah, there we go. Nice. And I can just change this reverb volume. And I can change... This is really cool. You can pan the reverb like to be on one side, and you can put like the reverb and the echo in different sides. Nice. Super cool. Yeah, well, anyways, this is a really, really cool thing. But I wanted to talk about something else. So, can I do something to drums overheads with reverbs? Let's find out. I think... where do I have a quick drums overheads? In our chat of Pensioneri, maybe. In one of those, like, recordings. I mean, I just want to get a quick one, and I don't have my hard drive with me. Like some overhead recordings. Ah, I can always download it from YouTube. Drum overhead recording. Like, no. Just one little bit of a recording. So we can load it there and this maybe. Please don't talk about it.
Answers. Here we have a pair of 18.
Okay, yeah, this is really cool. Hi, sure, take it. Nice to see you. Tak, I'm gonna go to a YouTube downloader and just load a YouTube MP3, YouTube to MP3, download it. I like this one, yes. Just gonna get this audio file, so give me my MP3-shka. So we can manipulate it with a reverb. Give me my MP3-shka. If you know a better one, tell me. This is the one I usually use, but it's leaving me badly today. Let me see if I can start exploring the other cases while I am. Things you can do with guitars with reverbs. So let's just load here a guitar sample. I'm sure there is a clip of a guitar. Is there though? Here. That. Nice. 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 So let's create a new audio track and drop this loop here. And unwarp it. And go here to reverb and load our Valhalla again there. You want to try another one? Another reverb that is not Valhalla? Or don't care? Let's see that one. Let's see that one. Wait, where is it? Like here. This one. Nice. Old school. Got it. Thanks. 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 Nice. So you see, you have small room, large room, EQ. So that's all of it. Wait. I think that this guitar has been in like a million songs, like because it's there in the samples of. And you can change like the small and large and pre-delay, like we can change the size of it. Okay. I will tell you at the end of this lecture, as a reward for your patience today and for being so awesome with me, I will give you a little trick of a reverb trick that I really like to use. So we can use a reverb on guitar, of course, to create space and to emphasize the sustain on guitar notes, just like we did here with shorter decay and higher pre-delay on the reverb. And of course, you can just achieve any desired sound that you want. I really like, and I want to invite you to think like that. I really like very short reverbs, like to do things, just to make things a bit more. Let me use this little Apple delay. I think I can do it with it anyways. Large, small. Wait. You see, this is really nice. You see? And in general, I'm trying to kind of like deliver this message to my students lately, which is like, man, the less we do sometimes the better. And sometimes little changes to the signal will make a very big difference. And I mean, sometimes I see myself using like 5% reverb wet and dry. Something like so little. Like, and look, if I switch this off, it's insane difference. And it's just 5%. Like, just changes the whole thing. Other things you can do with reverbs, of course, create as an ambient soundscape, use reverbs as special effect, emulate a specific acoustic environment, create a sense of distance, add cohesion to a mix, and use an effect you can use an effect send to have better control over it. Now, a couple of things before you go. I want to show you something. First, one of my favorite tricks with reverb that I tend to do a lot, and maybe I could have just made the presentation about this trick and that's it, and that would have been a great lecture. But let me see if there like a vocal vocal sample here. Okay, let's do it with this baby.
Check it out.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the best one, the best one, what I want to do is the baby. Let's do it with the baby. Let's try it with the baby and with another one. So okay, look at this. Maybe you already know, and I'm just showing you some bullshit here that it's not special for you, but I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna load here the Valhalla. 1 second. Valhalla. I'm gonna open the Valhalla. Yes, here it is, the vintage reverb, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna grab this guy. You see? Hey, okay, yeah. Here's the baby in a cave. Poor baby. Baby, where are you? Okay, and I'm gonna grab this guy, and I'm gonna flatten it. I'm gonna freeze it and render it. You know, freeze and flatten, right? Wait, I don't want to lose the baby. I don't want to lose the baby in the cave, so let me just duplicate this and do this. It's a little trick that I really like, and it's really nice. Let's load the Valhalla down here. And so I don't want to lose the original. I just want to grab this guy, and now let's grab this guy, and let's flatten it, freeze it, and flatten it. And let's take this thing, I don't know why he's doing this. Let's take the thing and reverse it. Okay? And then let's put that reverse reverb thing before the attack of this. So you get this really amazing thing, look. And look, look, now that you know that, let me show you a song that has this. Let me show a song that has this. Tool uses this all the time. Like the singer obviously loves this thing. And look, like I'll show you. Wait. This flesh. Just a sec, you will hear it. You see this? It's like typical thing. It's really cool thing to use. Like I use this resource a lot. That's a reverse reverb, like tail before the attack of the next vocal hit. So that's a really cool thing you can do with reverbs. Like, yeah, and then you can put the same reverb here, like that same reverb that we had here. You can drop it here again, and so now you get this like. Poor baby, it's locked in a cave. Okay. So that's one little reverb trick I wanted to show you, and there was one more thing I wanted to try. Wait a second. Well, I know about this, like, I guess that the MP3 here of the overheads. Well, I can get it now. Let me just load it there quickly, and I wanted to show you something about drum overheads that can be useful. So let me just drop this here in the guitar loop. Yeah. So there will be this guy talking. This is an amazing thing. Oh my God, yeah. And where do you play?
Now we have the rest of the kit. Phasing.
So I really want to stress this because it's really useful. You can also use reverbs. Look, remember, this is that little 5% guy. This is an overhead, a drum overhead. And if let's hear it more clearly. So I'm doing it on a drum overheads. And if I switch it off, really nice. Really nice effect. Okay, last little bit before I let you go. I'm gonna get any song. Let me see. I'm gonna load here a mix that I'm doing right now from O0, from the band O0, which, by the way, I'm really happy with this mix. I'll talk to you about this mix later. I think we heard it yesterday, didn't we? I don't remember. yesterday I gave 3 lectures. It's just like, I don't know who I talk with what, but anyways, this is a mix that I'm quite happy with. It's coming out quite well. So I'm gonna load this mix here 1 second and show you one little thing that is really cool that I use a lot when I'm working. And imagine that what you have to imagine is that the plugin I'm gonna put here, I will put it in the mix bus at the end of my processing. I do this sometimes. Like if anybody of you heard the band Brom, like if you have ever heard Brom, I did that when I was mixing Brom for sure. What I'm gonna show you now. And so let me just take this and remove this guy from here, and I'm gonna load a plugin called Ocean Way. It's a super heavy processing plugin, but it's really amazing, and I want to show you this so you can have an idea of how far reverb can go. This is called Ocean Way Studios, and it's a universal audio plugin, unfortunately, but it works like that. So this is a re-roomer. So they went to Ocean Way Studios in the United States, and they did an impulse response sampling of that room, and then they create a plugin which is like the impulse responses from that room. And you can do stuff like, you see, like, look, imagine, I'm choosing like the distance of this mic, and then I can just push it back and forward. You see, like, oh, like I want to change the position. Let's put this position here in the corner. And so I'm simulating that the source is starting from here. And then it has like a low cut, which we're going to discuss next week. We're going to discuss like how to, well, I don't know if next week, but we're going to discuss how to treat reverbs when you're mixing, because they can fuck your low end very much. Like you need to be very careful with that. We're almost done. So okay. This guy, for example, has a remic or reverb function. So when you're in remic, you cannot change the dry wet. It's kind of like simulating as if the whole signal is going in, you're putting it inside a room. And reverb, you can just change the dry wet and just decide how much of this signal you want. And then it becomes like a reverb, but that is inspired on a real life space. You see, like this is the wet solo. Now we're hearing only the signal. And I can pull this even further and cut the high end of it. So sometimes, imagine a live band that recorded in Studio B in DTH, and I want to make this feel that it happened a little bit in a bigger room. I put this plugin in my mix, in the whole mix. Like I mix the whole thing with this plugin on top, just to give it a bit of a sense of ambience. And then I just like put it in dry wet, something like this. Now look, if I switch it off, but the low end becomes really messy. So let's cut this here and just go. Etc. So I just wanted to tell you that you can use a reverb in a whole mix to give it a, yeah, it's a really nice release, by the way. Did you say Klasna Piesna? Did I hear you or? I'm so sorry. Yeah. Got it. Sorry. Yeah. Disonic, da? I always wanted them to be a sponsor of this program because I know the creators of this plugin. Like, they came to DTH when they were early testing it, and yeah. I always wanted to sort of like some sort of like mega discount or something for the students or something like that. Yeah. Well, anyways, my point was that you can use reverbs to alter your whole mix. So that's what we have for today. I hope it was not so bad in the end. And yeah, Nadios, I was just nervous at the beginning. Okay, that's awesome. So next week we will have a bit more technical stuff about reverbs, and we will move towards understanding how we can use the technical ear trainer on reverb. And then I will start bothering you with more technical ear training. Hooray, what you always dreamt. Congratulations. Guys online, are you guys okay over there? Check. Online friends, you guys there?
Yep.
Well, okay. See you on. See you third year students in 1 hour.
Thank you, Leo.
Yes, sir.
Everything was cool.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Давай, пока-пока.
Bye bye.